Before I get started today, I wanted to take time once again to say thank you to Rego Antonini. Mr. Antonini, a longtime teacher in this area, as I mentioned earlier in the week, passed away suddenly at his home in New Brighton. I was out getting some essentials, and last night I had a chance to drive through New Brighton. I drove by his home. Well, there were a number of people there, I'm sure immediate family members, mourning the loss of truly one of this area's finest. His wife, Sally, my thoughts and prayers go out to, along with his children and grandchildren. Look, a man that lives into his 8th decade lives a good life, but he had so much more good to do. But all the years that he has been on this earth, in my opinion, especially during his years as a teacher, he has done nothing but good, for the greater good. Many years a lector and being so heavily involved with that incredible church, Holy Family, and especially when New Brighton's own Father Tom Cradle returned home to lead that parish. I have so many wonderful memories of New Brighton, and I actually took time to purposely drive by the old New Brighton High School last night, and I looked into a doorway that I remember as though it was yesterday. As I was a sophomore, running up the steps, I had an encounter with Rego Antonini, Mr. Antonini, for the first time. I thought he was one of the coolest people I had ever met, and after that, it was as though we were kindred spirits, and we became friends that lasted a lifetime. He, as I've said many times during his time as guidance counselor at New Brighton High School, is the only reason that I turned out to be a broadcaster, because I was kind of a little bit of a rebel at times and I wasn't so sure what I wanted to do, but it was because of his really believing in me that it's kind of worked out 40 plus years later. And I'm sure that I'm just one of many stories. And of course, during his time as superintendent at Western Beaver, but we always had a great conversation about athletics, especially our love for New Brighton and this region when it comes to high school sports. As I mentioned earlier, he grew up in Ambridge, and he and his brother Frank were exceptional football players, and he was always proud of Ambridge, and I thought about him a lot when I'd be traveling along Merchant Street in Ambridge or doing some sort of athletic event at that incredible high school. Enrico Antonini was more than a teacher. He was a family member to me, and I was so lucky recently that I had a chance when Ron Poe James was coming back, probably the most famous football player in New Brighton history, to have a special night at Oak Hill Field, that I had a chance with my lifelong friend Mark Nemisak to sit down at his kitchen table and have a long conversation just about life, looking at scrapbooks and pictures, and my heart just was really a joyful moment because I had a chance to reconnect with a man who made me the man that I am today. And I remember recently, as maybe 10, 15 years ago, when I was taking my young children, Robbie and Eva, trick-or-treating through New Brighton, and we stopped at his house, and I hadn't seen him for a long time, and I looked up on the porch, and there he was, the man that made a difference in my life, as he has in so many lives. And I'm sure those who are connected to him and immediate family members will be able to do the same because of that partnership and that unity that they had amongst each other. If you want to read the entire obituary, go to J&J Spratt Funeral Home, link to this Facebook post. I'm a big fan of Dan Spratt, as I was of his father and his uncle. Truly a place that is going through a difficult time right now too, because a lot of these wonderful funeral homes aren't able to give people a chance to grieve and say goodbye. But know this, I would rather just say until next time, because it's always tough saying goodbye, but especially to someone who is so important in molding and shaping you in your life. My friend, Rego Antonini, and to his family, you will never, ever be forgotten. So let's not say goodbye. Let's just say until next time, Mr. Antonini. Have a great weekend from the home office in Monaca and your Pratte Pack.